All right, what's up, folks? Welcome to Foreign and Domestic. It is good to be here. It's been a hot minute. We apologize for that, but good to be here and good to see some people popping up in the side chat out there. And Alan, please get us started off right, brother.
Absolutely, most certainly. Yeah, I apologize, no cameras, but my internet is horrible. So anyway, we'll just go ahead and get started here.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Most excellent, most excellent. How are you doing, man?
Well, if you can't hear it in my voice, I've got some cold thing going on. Um, yeah, the weather's actually been turning most favorable here in Iowa, and it may be related to allergies. I don't think it is. I probably got it from sticking my tongue down some girl's throat. Who knows?
That's a good possibility. I
But
mean, you are on the market, so
right, right.
any single ladies out there, you want some oversized big heathen, you know, no beard anymore, but he can grow a damn good beard when he wants to. Um, maybe you can
Boy, I
convince
wish I could, because it'd cover up a whole lot of dang ugly. I tell you.
maybe you can convince him to regrow it again. But hit him up,
Yeah, still, if you don't look in my direction, I'm not that bad of a looking guy. And, I have lost about 65 pounds in the past 4 months. Um, so yeah, there's that.
Wow. It's a good bit of weight to lose, man. That's awesome. Rob, what's going on, brother?
No, much, just hanging in there. Good to see her doing a show.
Yeah, it's been a few weeks, man. How's your last few weeks been looking like?
Uh, Pretty busy, kind of chaotic. So, basically, it's kind of been nonstop with a bunch of stuff going on these last couple weeks. But that's pretty much it. Got a little irritated yesterday. Ran into some kind of state trooper roadblock or checkpoint thing. Uh, got through with no trouble, but it still annoys me to pull onto the highway and get funneled in and pulled over to one side or the other to get inspected and people search through my car. Not through it, manually, but visually. So I don't know if they were looking for somebody or what, but uh, yeah, I don't know. Didn't really care for the experience. And then
So you didn't get a citation for driving while black?
no, they once they realized my back seat was empty, they passed me through. So inspection.
Did it hit you with a tent?
No, I think I got lucky. So I don't know what the hell they were doing. They had a trailer set up, probably 6, 7 officers there, so cones everywhere. Been back through there since then and noticed a plastic shattered cone on the side of the road. So they left their garbage there too. So that's lovely. But yeah, no,
Oh,
and then ran into some other officers today, questioning me about gunshots. So seems like I don't know what the heck's going on here, but
you're on a radar.
yeah, something. So I'm came home and I'm just staying home now.
Yeah, watch your six, brother. Watch your six.
Well,
Kind
you
of
ain't
waiting.
You ain't got one of those cherry rigged slammed to the ground, all stanced out Hondas or anything that backfires and sounds like gunshots, do you?
No, my black Civic was like that, but no, that's gone now. So no, driving a average person little Subaru now. So uh, they probably just think I'm a, I don't know, vapor or
They probably think you stole
weirdo. Maybe I don't know. I've had a lot less problems driving this car versus the last one, though. I will state that. So.
What is it? Is it a WRX or what is it?
No, I could have bought. There was actually two when I went to buy this. Well, go look at this car. There was this one and two WRXs, but the WRXs are like basically the same thing as my Civic. It's just gonna bring the wrong kind of trouble. Uh, if it wasn't for that, I probably would have went with one. Maybe, I don't know. I didn't really inspect them because you got to inspect those a little further because everybody buys them to beat on them. And if they're getting rid of them, it's probably time for a head gasket. So, but anyway, I passed on those. I did briefly look at it and reconsider my thinking just because, the kid in me would much rather have a turboed vehicle than, the grocery getter. But due to that, due to my Civic and the constant harassment, like you said, air freshener, exhaust tickets that I would beat all the time because it was a brand new stainless steel exhaust, but still the issues of going through it all the time, getting followed, the little setups where a car will roll up and try to like run with you and shit and then blow by you and then right around the corner is a cop waiting for you. Doesn't pull the other guy over, but eyeballs you and follows you out of town. All that type of shit I haven't had to deal with since I got a different car. So I think I made the right choice going with just a regular sport instead of a WRX. And statistically, you may not notice this. I looked it up because these are the problems of my life. The WRX currently is in New York the most pulled over vehicle there is right now. So, or at least was a year ago when I was doing research as well. So,
Well, there you go, folks. If
yep,
you're driving through New York or intend to go through that area, just heads up. Don't be driving the Subaru WRX.
Yeah,
yeah, or
don't be taking that
drive easy.
WRX.
Drive easy if so, because apparently, you're a cop magnet in a WRX now. They've become the new Civic, apparently. So, yeah, no, I'm still happy with my choice. So far the car's been good, better than what I'd expect buying it from a used dealership, or small dealer, I should say, because despite what some people may think or whatever, or experiences, a lot of those guys are just bottom dollar, picking shit up at auction, do cosmetics, throw it out, and hopefully they never hear from you again when it breaks down in a month. But
Right.
obviously, I was there about an hour and a half looking at this one car with a kit to test the head gasket and look at a bunch of other things as well. So
That's a huge thing. If you're gonna go buy a car and you go for a used car, you got to make sure you're doing a full inspection of
yeah,
it, and taking the time. If they're not willing to throw it up on the rack and have you look at the underneath or anything like that, then that's a problem. You gotta push the limits a little bit and see what you can do to make sure you're getting the best dime for your dollar.
yeah, I totally agree. And if you don't know or you don't really know, ask around. Somebody knows. Not just the guy who says he knows every goddamn thing, but who knows their shit. Bring somebody with you. That's what I'd recommend. So I've gone and helped several people in the past. One guy actually got fed up because everything we looked at, I denied. And then he went out with another friend, bought a truck. And then like 3 days later, he was coming back to me freaking out because there was plates all over the bottom that were covered up with rhino liner. and the plates were covering the rusty ass frame, so he couldn't get it inspected. So
Yeah, you gotta be careful, man.
yeah,
It's a dog eat
yep.
world out there. You got to be real careful, especially with used cars, man.
Yeah, and he paid what 16 grand for this truck, and of course the guy wouldn't answer the phone. Every time he went back, nobody was there. It was a big ordeal, and this was a small dealership as well, so
Yeah.
it was a big freaking ordeal.
I always advise people to try and stick with the larger dealerships because at least then you've got it on paper, and if something does come up, you're better. You're gonna have a better chance of getting it fixed, and a better chance of having that piece of paper in your hand that says they looked at it and said it's okay.
Another time, I helped a girl that was a friend of a friend's, whatever, living babysitter, going to get her first car. She was like 20 something, 21, 22. I don't know. A little late, from my perspective of getting into driving or getting her first car, but whatever. That was her situation. Had found something online and asked me to go check it out. So she came over here borrowing the other people's car, picked me up, whatever. We went and looked at it. I was instantly sketchy. Just the way the whole setup was when we got there. The whole family's out on the porch, and I don't know, it just seemed kind of weird. Looking it all over, the girl would have took the car, but she was waiting to see what I would say. When I was asking about the title and stuff, they ended up like pulling one out, like, yeah, the title and the VIN didn't match. So if she would have bought that car, she wouldn't have been able to put it on the road.
Right.
Legally, she bought a mystery car with a title that goes to something else. Like it wasn't even the same year. So,
I ran into a similar issue. I don't know, about 14 years ago, something like that.
okay.
About 14, 15 years ago, I had a guy sell me a truck. And at the time, the girl I was dating said that she had previously worked for the DMV. And, I had her look at the title and she said everything was good. And I'm like, okay. So I bought it. Well, it was about a week later. I'm looking at things and getting ready to go to the DMV and do all the stuff I got to do to put it in my name and all that jazz. And the thing wasn't signed. So no one had signed it over. And I try to get a hold of the dude, and it's just dodgy as hell. He's responding for a minute, and then he stops responding, period. So that truck ended up being one that I literally drove it to the nearest donation center. When by donation center, I mean I drove it down to the local I don't know what the hell they call them anymore, secondhand shop. And I parked it outside and I left it open with the keys in it, and I wiped it all down, made sure there was no fingerprints, the whole 9 yards, and walked the fuck away.
Damn. Yeah. Well, in that case, if you had a receipt, you could file for a lost title, and it may work out, but it's still going to be a long problem and headache. And for people that don't know, if you end up going out of state to buy a vehicle, you want to check with their regulations, because New York, if I sell one, I can sell it as is, write a receipt, boom, give them the title, everything's good, legit. They can take that, register it, insure it, do what they want to do. But if I was to get a car from PA, not only do I need the title, but I need a sworn signature from a notary of the sale. So you have to have that.
If you're buying from PA, if you're buying out of state too, you also got to understand how the taxes work as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll pay the taxes up front, but what they'll end up doing, and I found this out recently because I bought another truck and I bought it in PA. They'll send you paperwork with a check to take to the DMV and pay the taxes back to the DMV.
Mm. Yeah, with this one I recently purchased, the place I bought it, they had a notary there, so I was able to get all that handled. And I basically paid PA tax in New York somehow at DMV. So I'm not exactly sure how they finagled that, but that's pretty much how that went down. So kind of a strange deal. But the point is, always check if you're going across states, because I've dealt with other people that have purchased, didn't realize you had to get it like a receipt from the notary to register in our state, and then when they go try calling these people back just to see if they can meet up somewhere for a notary, they never answer the phone because they assume you're calling about a complaint with the vehicle, and now
Well,
you're stuck with
and
something
one
you
other
can't
big thing
register.
too is check the state laws, because like Pennsylvania has requirements for checks before they can actually legally sell the vehicle. So if it doesn't have those, if it doesn't have current stickers saying that it's been checked and inspected and all the rest of it, then walk away from it.
So it can be a little sketchy. So you definitely want to either know somebody that knows what the hell they're doing, or take some time to look into it. I still think you can get a good deal searching around. I'd always recommend use over new, just because new is such a bad investment these days, and it depreciates so fast. To me, I just can't justify it personally. Maybe others can, but if you want to waste money, I mean, there's a lot of better ways to just waste money, in my opinion.
Well, I've got a bit of a story, if y'all indulge me here. For a while now, I've been bugging on getting something a little funner to drive. My 2022 Cherokee Trailhawk, I love it. I absolutely love that vehicle, but it's kind of vanilla to drive on a daily basis or on weekends, whatever. And so I've been just keeping my thumb on Facebook Marketplace I had been looking for a 2-door manual car. Didn't need to look pretty, didn't need a whole bunch of power, whatever the case may be. Well, about a month ago, I ended up coming across and something that I can work on, basically a little bit of a project car. So about a month ago, I come across this 2010 BMW 325 or 328i xDrive.
Red flag, red flag.
Right. It's a BMW. I mean, it's probably already blown up if it doesn't blow up before I can even look at it.
Hey, maybe you're looking for a challenge.
Well, yeah, something I can work on. And, if you want to consistently work on something, buy a BMW.
Damn right.
So I text the guy at like 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, hey, I'm not, endless money pit. BMW does stand for broke man walking. So I text the guy at like 10 o'clock in the morning, tell him I'm not off work until 4:30. I can grab a driver and meet him. He's about a half hour away from me, and meet him. And I should be able to be there probably about 5:15. Oh yeah, no problem. Once you get to our town, I'll let you know where to meet. Okay. So I text him, let him know that I'm leaving my town. Text him again, let him know that I had gotten to his town. Text him again, hey, where do you want to meet? He sends me a message, says, on a test drive now, I'll let you know if I don't sell it. I immediately turn around and just go, no thanks, good luck.
Yeah, I definitely would have too. That's a sign right there, man.
So 3 weeks later, it's back up on Marketplace. I'm looking at the picture. I'm like, that's the same exact car. The first seller, we'll call him Bryce. I'm like, that's Bryce's car. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. end up setting up a time to meet up with this guy that's selling it now. It's either he's just trying to do a quick flip or there's something seriously wrong with the car. Meet up with him, and yeah, it's a 2010 BMW. Like, the interior is 100% mint, other than one little tiny scuffing on the driver's bolster seat. It's not torn, and the start button is faded. Wah. Meet up with him, but the driver that I take with me, I'll call him Owen. The driver I take with me, that's one of his side gigs, is he flips cars here in Iowa. So I'm like, hey, come out and check this thing out with me. And so when he pulls up, me and him are doing opposite circles around this thing, pointing out what we see every time we pass each other. I asked the guy, I'm like, so how long have you owned this car? And he's like, oh, about 2 months. 2 months. Yeah. Okay. Well, if you've only owned it for 2 months and you're selling it now, what's wrong with it? Why are you getting rid of it? Oh, there's nothing really wrong with it. My wife was not happy. He was this Mexican guy. My wife was not happy at all. We got kids and she doesn't know how to drive a manual. Okay. Look it over. I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and take it for a test drive. Me and Owen here are going to take it for a test drive. I get it out onto the highway, lay into this thing, get down the road about a mile, pull into this other shopping area, and have Owen drive it. Owen gets back out onto the highway to start heading back, and he runs it like a rape date. And it's a 6-speed manual. He's doing 100 miles an hour by the time he's in fourth. He's like, oh, well, yeah, it drives like perfectly straight. The brakes are great. There's no shimmies, no shakes. I'm like, yeah, this is peculiar. I ran a Carfax on it real quick. It was mostly a Minnesota car. Until about 2 years ago, where it was bought in Iowa, by the original seller, Bryce. Well, the guy was asking $5,900. I ended up giving him $4,900 for it. So that night I text Bryce back and I'm like, hey, you have no skin in this game. I now own the BMW. Give me the good, the bad, the ugly. As any history on this thing that you can give me, the better. And he's like, what? He already sold it. And I'm like, yeah, he already sold it. You mind telling me what he's got for it? And I was like, no, I gave him $4,900. He's like, wow, the guy just took an $800 loss. I'm like, really? Oh, yeah. Well, the next day I went out and he texted him with Bryce. He was saying that the whole time he owned it, he only ever had it serviced at the BMW dealership. The original owner of the car clearly had only ever had it serviced at the BMW dealership. It had tons of history on it. I went to go replace the in-cabin air filter, the air filter that most people neglect. Sure as shit, I pull that air filter out. It's BMW branded air filter. I replaced the engine air filter. Sure as shit, it's BMW branded air filter. I'm like, this thing has been like taken care of by the dealership and the dealership only. Took it over to one of my non-blood kids' works and put it up on the rack, and excluding surface rust on virtually everything underneath it, the body itself has got no rust on it. The subframes are solid. The hardware has got surface rust on it. It looks like the car sat for an extended period of time. According to the Bryce seller, it sat. He drove it for about 3,500 miles the entire 2 years that he owned it. I'm like, oh, okay. I've been driving this thing for a week solid. I dumped the transmission, redid it, dumped the front and rear diffs. None of the fluids in it were even dirty. You could tell that they had been in there for a little while because nobody had cracked any of the bolts to drain any of this stuff in quite a while either. But everything was clean. I'm like, this is surprising. Very, very surprising. I've been driving the thing around for a week. It runs like a raped ape. And yeah, so now I own a BMW. Long story short. Well, long.
Well, it just means you got somewhere your money's going to be going, because at some point it's going to cost you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a BMW. It could blow up sitting in the parking lot right now.
I mean, I remember back in the day, and we're talking almost 20 years ago. Yeah, about 18 years ago. My teacher had to get a sensor replaced, and the sensor alone was $1,000. BMWs, people, they cost.
Yeah, cheapest deal I could get my friend. Yeah, I can't remember the name of it now or number, but it's 2-seat coupe, supposedly fastest production. Da 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 da. They don't make them anymore. I don't know. Best deal I could get for him for brakes was $800, and that was ordering online and me installing. So they add up. Dealer wanted a couple grand just for brakes and rotors. So compare that to like my car, brakes and rotors, where I might be spending $200. It's a big ups. Obviously there's a difference, but it's a lot of freaking money. But yeah, it's good. But yeah, I'm glad you got a good one at this point, and it's running the title. I was waiting for the catch, like there was a body in the trunk or underneath was completely rusted or something. You will find like the A-arm, shit like that. All that's usually aluminum. Doesn't matter if it's an Audi, Jetta, whatever it is. Those ball joints are a bitch. So I wish you luck with that. I've had to deal with it on vehicles myself, and don't expect it to go easy or smooth. That's all I'm going to tell you when you start screwing around with that shit. So if you don't already know, but that the metals just like to seize right together when it comes to the aluminum and steel, and it can be one of them things where you can lose your cool.
Yeah, it's clearly been a Minnesota car. It does have some corrosion here and there, but it's mostly just like surface rust on hardware. Other than that, I'm actually really, really surprised. I was expecting to see a lot more rot than I do. And I'm thanking my lucky stars at this point. Is quite
literally got
literally
the only decent BMW out there used. So you hit the lotto.
I kind of feel like I did. I really do, because apparently the people that had this thing really took damn good care of it.
I also throw in though, just because dealers are the only place that do the work. That all depends on the dealership themselves. Like anywhere else, some places got good people, some got bad. a lot of times, like especially if there was any kind of warranty work, mechanics aren't making what they should make. They're just pushing shit through. So
Yeah, you got to
just
be
because it's all
careful.
dealership isn't 100% guarantee, but it doesn't mean maybe this dealership was decent and they did things right. But you just can't 100% count on it because it's a dealership.
No,
Right.
my last Toyota, I had X amount of oil changes free and all the rest of it when I bought it, and so I obviously went there and just had them do it since it wasn't costing me anything other than gas. And then when I started doing the oil changes myself, I went to go take the nut off, and the nut was already stripped out. So whoever had worked on it wasn't using the right wrench. So just because it's
Yeah,
dealership,
one of the only advantages I think that you get from dealerships is genuine parts. You're gonna get genuine parts, especially when it comes to uh, Mercedes, BMW, any of the luxury brands, even Lexus. You're gonna end up getting genuine parts, genuine OE parts.
It is a plus. Usually they do, well, with certain brands and whatnot, they do tend to last longer. Unfortunately, paying dealer price really sucks. But if you got a friend that's a dealer, I probably shouldn't be telling the world this. Well, I'm not going to pinpoint anybody or any place, but dealers trade parts with each other. So they may have a similar dealership in another town. And if you know anybody, they can call and be like, "Hey, I got a guy coming to pick up da 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 da," and you can run down there. Your buddy calls you, you run down there, and you pay, but you're paying like the dealer price. So, for an example, what they might be trying to sell you for close to $500, you can walk out of there for like 150 brand new. So there's a hell of a markup on these parts, but we all kind of know that. So, but if you know anybody, there is little workarounds. Again, I don't want to get into complete details or say what dealership I may have hypothetically done this a few times with, but it's a thing. So use your resources.
Yeah, so that's what I was doing last weekend was going and checking out this car and picking up this car, and so yeah, I apologize that I wasn't around last week, but apparently that didn't come to fruition as it is.
no, I figured a lot of people would be busy. It's Memorial Weekend. I get it.
Yeah, I was planning actually a trip out to the Adele Memorial Cemetery. It's something that I do annually. But it was either go and check it out and see if it was something that I was actually going to do or not. I just told the guy, I'm like, you haven't had this car for 2 months. You've had this car for 3 weeks. He's like, he just looked at me funny, and I'm like, this is Bryce's car. He's like, oh, you know Bryce? And I'm like, yeah, I know Bryce. And I watched his whole body sink because then at that point, I in his eyes, I probably knew exactly what he paid for it. Right. Most independent mechanics absolutely will not. There's a lot of shops that will not let you purchase your own parts because that's where they make a lot of their money. It is
Yep.
what it is.
Yep. Yeah, I've had it out myself. One of the rare times that I took my vehicle to somebody else, I was too busy working, so I dropped my truck off. Heard a clunking noise. Well, I got a flat. I changed the tire and threw the one on that came on the truck on it. And ever since I threw that on, like within an hour or two, started hearing like a weird clunk or whatever. And I looked out, looked at everything, couldn't find nothing, was going nuts, going underneath the bar, underneath the truck, checking like torsion bar. I'm looking at everything, like what the hell is going on? Can't figure it out. Had to get back to work, was basically on a job at that point. So I dropped the truck off down at a shop, and they tried telling me needed like a wheel bearing, uh, which was, I think they were trying to charge me 300 and something for uh, a new wheel, because by the way, the tire that I put on was technically the wrong size. It fit on. It was a little tight, but it fit on the truck, so I didn't think anything of it. It was with the truck. It only made sense, but it's been under the truck for I don't know how long, so it was a little tight getting around that center hub area or whatnot. But anyway, got it on. The point I'm trying to get at is the wheel bearing part. I told them don't touch nothing because they were telling me like $1,000 or some shit. I'm like, don't even touch it. I'll be right back and pick it up. And so after work, I got dropped off there, picked the truck up, drove it home, even though they said that, you can't, whatever. Ended up popping the studs out, replaced those for like $15, threw the right tire back on, and checked the wheel bearing. And I didn't even need the wheel bearing, but for ha-has, I went down, checked the store. Well, I looked it up, and apparently Dorman's the only one that's making that wheel bearing for my truck. Like, it's not one of them. It's an old truck. It's not one of them ones where there's 20 different manufacturers making it or whatever. So, uh, ended up, trying to make 100% sure. Call my auto parts store. If they're telling me it's like 100 or $80, something like that. I think it was $80. But yet they were trying to charge me like $300 or something like that for the damn thing. So it's just, yeah, it's genuine markup. They mark up everything, I'm thinking, to the point where it's ridiculous. So some shops will let you bring in your own parts, but it is kind of rare. And they always pull that, well, we can't warranty it or whatever, da 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 da. So, you got to kind of expect that too if you're going to try to save a buck on and bringing your own parts somewhere where they will let you. Some places are cool, but others aren't. I tend to do everything myself because every time I try to get somebody else to do something or press a wheel bearing in for me, they don't support the back, blow the Reese's out. It's like, I could have done it myself. I just figured it was cheap, bring it to the professionals because I got other shit to do, but I can't even do that. So I'm stuck, got to go out of town, I think to Florida or something. And so I got to run down, find another set of wheel bearings, go rip this crap apart, press them in myself here so I can get the car up and going again. Like, it's like you try to pay somebody for service and they don't do it. You go get tires, they ruin the sidewall putting the tire on and try to blame you for it. Like
I
what?
don't know. I've
What
had
the hell is
places.
going on these days? Like,
I,
geez,
I,
I won't even trust somebody to pump my gas nowadays. It's getting
I've
ridiculous.
literally had places tell me they don't have the right oil or this, that, the other, and they can only put this oil in the truck or that. And it's like, no, the truck requires this oil. This is the oil you're putting in. They're stand there and try to argue with me. Like, dude, no, this is what the truck says. You don't want to put that in, then it ain't happening here. That's why I've been doing my own oil changes for I don't know how many years now. I got so pissed off because the last place I went to, they tried to argue with me and tried to put some different oil in that was going to end up messing up my engine.
And it's getting sad out there, some of these places. A lot of the, oil change places where they tell you the deal, so much for this or whatever. Yeah, when you get there, you find out they're usually charging you more. That's like the cheapest, 2 quarts of oil or something if you're driving a 1.6. God forbid you show up there with a truck. But, they're always jacking the prices. And if you go for the deal, whether you know it or not, you're usually getting recycled used oil, which isn't the end of the world, but they don't tell you that. You know what I mean? It's their brand or whatever it is. It's normally just recycled shit. And some of the shops will even put recycled shit in the normal containers and have it on the shelf, and they'd ask you, would you prefer the A or B? Now that's really scamming, because now they're actually lying to you, deceiving you. But you know, you like check the rings. That's all I'm saying, man. You got to check everything these days, because they try to hustle everything out of you. You know, uh, any dime they can get. A lot of places they're trying. I could go on with a million stories, things that had actually happened to people, but
Oh yeah, they're
we don't
horrible.
want to, don't want to turn this into one of those shows.
It's freaking horrible. These places, man, they literally try to rape you. You know, I've seen people go in before, and they just want a tire balance, or they want this, and the shop owner comes up, says, "Oh, you need this and you need that," and blah 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 blah, and it's, you know, an extra $5,000 on top of what they were expecting.
Yep. Here you got to get a yearly inspection, and I can't tell you how many times somebody's showed up and been like, "Oh, you know, everything was fine. I took the car in, and they're saying I need this and need that, and now the light's on." And you pop the hood and look around, and you find an unplugged harness to like the map sensor or something. Like they just literally just unplugged it. They didn't pull it all the way out. They just unclipped it and slid it back a little bit, so you wouldn't know. Now you're going to go pay them a bunch of money. They're going to take your money and push that plug in and inspect it and send it out the door. You know, after charging you $700, $800, $1,000 to fix something they ain't even fix. Like I've literally seen this happen. So yeah, got to be real careful.
That's the biggest thing, is just pay attention and try to have some knowledge. You know, I don't know everything about cars, but I try to do all my own work as best I can. You know, there's certain things that I'm not able to do. But you know, like I said, I've been doing my own oil changes for I don't know how many years now. I've been doing all kinds of other work on trucks and this, that, the other. But try to do as much as you can by yourself, because you're going to be better off.
Yep.
We've
go ahead.
taken the places to try and save ourselves the time, you know, of doing it by ourselves. But at the end of the day, you're costing yourself more money.
Yeah. And a lot of times, if you understand how things work, like if you do have a problem, you're more likely to figure it out, or rig a way to get out of a jam, in a sense, if you have an understanding of what you're dealing with. So it does help if you don't know. Try, you know, and everything you learn, like when you look at the prices today, even doing your own oil change. I mean, in some cases, if you believe what they're telling you, you know, $20, $30, it might be cheaper, but you're taking a chance. You know, did they really change the oil filter? Are they putting in new oil? There's a lot of chances there. You know, are they stripping out your drain plug? Did they check for the other gasket from the original oil filter? Did they double it up? They clean the surface. I mean, it's simple shit, but did they actually do it right is a question. So,
And that's it. You know,
you
it's
save yourself a
$20.
lot of money. Basically, you learn how to do shit yourself, even brakes or whatever. Everything, you know, you can help a friend. You can save a lot of money or make money.
That's the thing of it. So, like, you go to these places and they say $20 for an oil change, but when you go to the store to buy the oil that you need for your truck, it's $20 just for the 5 gallons of it, and you need 6 gallons in there.
Yeah, plus the oil filter.
How's that equate? That doesn't equate. So what are you really getting, people?
You're getting a knockoff shit. I mean, honestly, you know, there's some other companies that use recycled oil out there you can actually find on the shelf. I'm not saying it's bad. What I'm saying is it's dishonest. It's not what you're paying for. You know what I mean? And
right, it's probably not going to last as long. It's probably going to end up causing issues down the road eventually.
Right. Is it up to the actual standards that it was? It's hard to say. I mean, do they test all this? I honestly don't know. Maybe they do. I don't know. But it's not what, you know, I paid for this or I paid for that. That's what I expect.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them that like the oil change places, hell, even Walmart, they use the big giant bulk oil. It's just generic X oil. But then again, just because you walk into an auto parts store doesn't mean that you're getting the best price on anything either. I go to change the oil in this car. I'm going in there specifically for Castro GTX high mileage. Well, because it's recommended Castro GTX. Well, it's got high mileage, so I'm going to use Castro GTX high mileage. The auto parts store was $10 more expensive for the 5-quart jug than the Walmart a block and a half away.
Something to may consider, maybe to look into. Maybe I should look back into it myself. But I've heard enough that it's convinced me to avoid high mileage oil, and that's due to the extra additives they add into it and what that could potentially do to your seals and stuff. So now, granted, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just certain ones or it's changed over time, but I just try to go straight oil and skip any extra additives for high mileage or anything due to this, what I've seen in the past. I can't go through
I
it.
know where I know where
detail,
you're coming from. I get where
but
you're coming from. And the only reason why I went specifically for the high mileage this time is because I honestly don't know what's been in it. So this first oil change, I was going to put the high mileage in it. After that, I'm going to go back to a standard oil. Just because, yeah, it might do its thing for a little bit, but I'm not going to run it continuously.
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, that's another thing. Like things change, and you hear so many different things, and my car's doing this, so the guy at the store says dump this bottle in. Like any of those magic fix things, avoid that shit. Belt spray, avoid that shit. All you're gonna do is make your belt fly off quicker. So just change your damn belt or figure out why it's messed up to begin with. Don't treat
Yeah,
the symptom, treat the
there's
cause.
so many snake oils out there that make all these different claims.
Yeah.
And when Royal Purple first came out, it was like they seemed like they were going after the advertising biz like it was going out of style. Well, it's been quite a while that Royal Purple has actually made a name for itself. And so, yeah, I put Royal Purple in my transmission. Now, for my diffs, I put Lucas in there. So you can't hardly scoff at Lucas.
Yeah, Lucas is one I've used, so I will state that. But yeah, I would be very careful. Just don't throw anything the guy at the store is telling you if you don't know what's going on. So
No, and I've used high mileage oil in previous trucks for quite a while, and I didn't really ever notice a difference, to be honest with you. Um, does it do anything more? Probably not, but it's literally like $1 or $2 more. Um, I don't know. I never really noticed any kind of change or difference running it versus running any kind of other kind of oil.
Well, yeah, this particular vehicle, it supposedly is one of those vehicles that had the lifetime oil in the transmission. I say that's the lifetime of the warranty, and this car is well past its warranty. So it says to only use this manufacturer's specific oil, yada, yada, yada. Well, I could regret it, but I ended up putting Royal Purple in it instead because I wasn't going to go to no dealership and pay $40 a quart for gear oil.
Right. Jamie, what's going on, brother?
Yeah, Kyle out there. New car air freshener doesn't make everything right. No, it doesn't. What you need to do is upgrade the stereo so that when things are rattling and making racket, you can just turn up the stereo and you just don't hear it. And the new car air freshener, yeah, you pretty much have to have that if you're, a single player like myself.
Yeah, you
Don't
gotta
hang
watch
them
that.
off your mirror. Don't hang the air fresheners off your mirror. So apparently I'm told by the police that drug dealers do that, even though it was my mom's car and she wasn't a drug dealer. But needless to state, in New York they use that as an excuse to obstruct your vision. They'll
Right. They
pull
used to
over
tell
before they
us
can
that.
go fishing.
They
Yeah.
used to tell us that horse crap in California too. In all actuality, a girlfriend that I had out here in Iowa, she had like all kinds of shit hanging from her mirror, and she got pulled over for that as well. Um, I don't personally use the little trees anymore. Everybody loves. I love the little trees. What I've been using nowadays has been chemical guys spray, and it works
Mm-hmm.
really well.
So I still like the trees, but I'll like throw them under the car seats, and then they're kind of out of the way. You don't have to worry about them usually. They're not. If you try dangling it off from the stereo or something like that, it always ends up kind of being in the way or swinging around when you turn. But yeah, it's a problem. They like to go fishing with that type of stuff, depending on your state. Um, and they can be selective with who they choose to enforce that on. And bothered a guy in front. Matter of fact, I was heading back to college. My car was broke, borrowed my mom's, and I was right next to the college, and freaking sheriff went by, and I'm in line with like 4 other cars, and I'm like the third back. And the sheriff drives through the intersection. All of a sudden, like hits his brakes, pulls a U-ey, comes back around and drives up on me and hits his lights and pulls me over. Like I wasn't even driving, and I'm like, it's like one of them comical, like, am I supposed to pull over? What am I supposed to do here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want him to think I'm running or something. Like, what the hell? So anyway, turned out to be an air freshener. I figured I was the most wanted or something, but it was hilarious because when the guy pulled up on me, I couldn't help but notice the car in front of me. Everybody's looking. Got a bunch of CDs, Puerto Rican flag and shit hanging from their mirror, but I got popped for my mom's air freshener. So I was like, wow, this is kind of crazy. Like, ended up being late for class. I ended up going to court over it, and they just threw it out because I told basically same thing I just said to you to the judge, and he just dismissed it and threw it out. So I didn't end up with anything out of it in the end, but kind of crazy scenario. Like I wasn't even technically driving, so I guess legally I was behind the wheel of a motor vehicle with it on. So I guess legally, but kind of weird. So if you look like me, damn sure don't have an air freshener up there.
Well, you're driving in New York, and you look like you're kind of fucked, man.
Yeah. Pulling out of McDonald's made me number one enemy, man. Number one, waiting at that light.
Yeah, how dare you go to McDonald's?
That's kind of funny. Thinking back, it's kind of funny. I was honestly shocked. I didn't know what the hell was going on. Like, what the? Yeah, and it's like, is it a trick? Like, am I supposed to pull over to the side of the road? What am I supposed to do here? So, plus I couldn't move anyway because everybody else was there. So, ran into another.
Sounds like a scene from a Cheech and Chong movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One
you
time I went through a checkpoint in my truck, and I totally forgot, but I had a bad inspection. So that's me screwing up, man. And rolled up. When I got there, I realized it was bad, and I'm like, oh god, what am I supposed to do? Run the checkpoint? I'm like, oh god, here we go. So state trooper, he's like, is there any reason your inspection's bad? And I'm like, does being a dumbass count? And he was like, no. And wrote me a ticket, and that cost me $91 plus 21. And I had to go get the inspection done anyway. But at the time, the officer's standing there, and he looks at me, and he's got one of them eyes that go like all over the place. So one's kind of looking at you, and the other one's just wandering around, and it throws you off. So now you don't know which eye to look at, and you don't want to be rude, but you're sitting there, like a Bible head trying to follow this guy. He's looking at you, you're looking at him. I don't know what the hell, I'm feeling confused as hell. So I've had a few weird situations like that with officers where it's just like you don't know what the hell you're supposed to do. So, but I think it's kind of odd. I wonder, did that guy drive there? Can he drive like that? I mean, seems like it'd be a distraction with one eye just doing whatever the hell it wanted to do. I don't know.
All the people in the side chat saying the Irish Spring, put that no, people, do not, please do not. There's nothing about that. There's nothing about that that's going to be good. Just do not.
I've done it. I've absolutely done it. When I had a couple gallons of paint explode in the trunk of my 74 Monte Carlo, and couldn't get nothing to help cover it up or freshen it up for weeks. I just literally took a bar of Irish Spring, cut it in half, and put it underneath each side of the seat. It helped out a lot.
Does that melt into like the floor? Summertime heat and everything?
Yeah, it pretty much did. It pretty much did. I didn't have to clean it up because it never came out of the car.
Every time it rained, the floorboards were sudding up.
Oh, come on now. I'm not. I've got cold. I'm not feeling well. I understand I misspelled a word. Goodness gracious. Some people's kids.
Jamie, what you got to say about all of this?
It's funny y'all talking about cars and stuff. The reason I'm late, I was putting a radiator in a 2004 Honda Civic. Shoot me dead, please.
You still got knuckles left?
I do. I got
Not
scratches.
too bad.
We're right around halftime. Alan, you want to go through the side chat?
Well, that's if YouTube wants to cooperate with me, but for some oddball reason, it's making me try to work for this endeavor. Yeah, Bama Dad Kyle, he say out there, Ozzy Osbourne got the Red Raider Reloader. Apologize, I can barely speak. Fuzz Fork 8, and I don't know why it's not cooperating with me anymore. Typical. Kyle's out there, Ozzy Osbourne. Yep. Thank you all for joining us here, because, man, YouTube is giving me a big bowl of dicks that they need to eat.
Dang. All right. I'm sorry, Alan. I need to apologize. Rich White's on your backside now.
Well, he's saying he can barely read, but he can barely spell.
He ain't wrong. Hey, I can barely read, but I can sort of make out what he typed.
Yeah, the bad part about it, he say, was I had to break that seal on the air conditioning. The condenser has to be moved to get that radiator out. So now there's a slight matter of an air conditioning service.
Oh man, that ain't cheap.
And there we have AllenBePro.
Yeah.
I have to say that it's still one of the greatest freaking pictures ever that people have captured.
No, man, that was a fantastic live stream that night.
That was probably one of the best we've ever had.
I'm declaring it the best. But that's just
I mean, you got a freaking bald and curious itsy bitsy spider. I mean, come on.
See, he's on some type of fasting diet now. At least he put a video up about fasting. So
I don't know. I haven't seen anything.
yeah, I guess he lost a little weight and he's claiming he's gonna start doing it. I think a time or two a month or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, I don't know. I think I've been hearing a lot about that lately. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's probably different for different individuals. Basically, I've
Okay,
fasted several times. I don't do it like a planned fast, but I've skipped dinner occasionally. Not a huge deal. And
he's doing it twice a month.
Okay.
For 100 hours, damn.
Yeah. I was gonna say I only eat one a day too.
Be careful with stuff like that, folks.
Yeah.
Fasting is okay in small intervals, but you got to be real careful with that because you will end up causing yourself problems if you don't really pay attention. Especially if you're not paying attention to fluids and all the rest of it as well. You got to really make sure you know what you're walking into because you can end up with a lot of problems that most people will never expect to have, but you'll end up having them because you're doing this. So just be real careful with it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are there's a lot of psychological to it too. I mean, there's people that can't miss a meal without freaking out. So, it's definitely a shock to some people. So I've been one to eat one meal a day in all my free life. I'll put it that way. There's certain points where I was ordered to eat more or whatnot, but that's a whole nother story. But basically, that doesn't work for everybody. So, but I can tell you, I did some math one time. I forgot what it was in a year, but I saved like thousands of dollars, like tens of thousands of dollars by only eating one meal a day. So I actually tried to get back like so many years, and I've saved like I could have bought a house probably with the money I've saved on breakfast and lunch.
It's totally doable. And I've said it before. Most of you guys know I'm on what's called the carnivore diet. So I mostly only eat meat, eggs, and raw dairy. And generally, I'm only one, maybe 2 meals a day. That's it. But I feel so much better. My energy levels are through the roof. And yeah, it's not cheap to do, but the health benefits are absolutely nuts. And it's different for everybody. And I came across this just over a year ago. When I went home and I was eating back home, I noticed that my stomach wasn't having the problems it was having when I was eating here. And I paid attention to what was going on, and I was eating more meat, more eggs, and even just even the stuff that did have, some carbs in it, this, that, the other. It wasn't as many chemicals and additives and all the rest of it that we have here. And so my stomach felt so much better. And ever since then, I've been doing the carnivore diet and meat, eggs, and raw dairy, and it's an incredible thing. I'm blown away by it, and there's lots of good information and lots of good evidence out there. It's healthy. It's not bad for you. There's people out there that will try and tell you that high cholesterol is bad for you. High cholesterol is not bad for you. It's good for you. It's good for the brain. Anyone out there who's considering trying to change their diet and you're curious about some of this stuff, you can email me if you want to, and I'll send you all the evidence. I'll show you different things from different doctors, independent reviews, all that kind of stuff. It's out there, and it's an incredible thing. It really is. No, I don't eat salads. Yep, haggis is good, man. Absolutely, 100%. It was good to get back home and have some proper haggis. That was actually one of the first meals I had when I got back home. I had haggis for breakfast. It was freaking awesome.
I'm no doctor, but I would feel safe on a general statement that unless you're one of them anorexic people, most people would probably benefit from skipping a meal or two here or there, just statistically. Basically retrain your body. If I don't know. You shouldn't freak out like a crackhead because you're missing lunch. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, they try to say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and you know why they did that? It was a huge marketing thing to sell cereal, and most cereals are really freaking bad for you. Really bad for you. But that's why they did it. They tried to they brought that out to sell the cereals. And all these companies that have all these different cereals have so many different additives, colors, and all the rest of it in it, and it's terrible for you. But that's why they pushed that. They pushed the whole breakfast thing. The best time to actually eat for someone in general is mid-afternoon to late afternoon, early evening. Breakfast is not a typical thing that is good for anybody. It's really not.
Yeah, I won't make general statements on meals or whatever not being good or whatever. I will state, like I said, I think everybody'd benefit a little bit. You skipped it, retrain. I mean, if you ever came across hard times, shit hits the fan, yeah, you got to be able to survive. And if you're on, the point where you can't because you only ate one meal and you don't have enough energy, that's just probably not a good deal. Yeah, obviously that's not the only reason or whatever, but yeah, if you're a cheap bastard, think of the money you could save too. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just, like I said, some
Right.
people are just, they go nuts. They turn into Rain Man if they're gonna miss a meal. And
Right. Well,
when I'm busy, I don't get up and do breakfast. I get up. I already know what I'm doing. The truck's loaded. Whatever, I pop in, I'm on my way. Not saying you should be me or anything or like me, but I don't even consider dinner until like I'm done with work or food. Doesn't
right.
even
Well,
cross my mind.
like Bama Dad says, eat when you're hungry. You don't want to be overeating. Take it when your body's going to tell you when you need that nutrients. That's going to be the thing of it. And then like Ozzy says his worst habit is eating after work at midnight. Yeah, man, I'm on second shift, and so my food schedule is all jacked up. And it sucks. It does. It sucks. There's times that I will take something and eat something halfway through work. There's times that I eat when I get home. The schedule's all kind of jacked up just because of being on second shift. It really screws with you.
If you're known to have heartburn, I'm not, but I, it's from information or whatever. Basically, it's good not to eat right before bed, basically, because normally, it takes so long for your food to digest, and they say there's lots of studies been done that, your digestion may not work the way it's supposed to when you lay down and go to sleep, basically. And at the same time, your body's also supposed to heal itself and work on itself. But if it's, busy digesting your food, it's taking a bit away from, actually rejuvenating you in a sense, or whatever you want to call it. But so to get your best bang for your buck, you shouldn't eat right before bed, basically, is what they say. And it could also lead to heartburn as well. So something to consider. And since nobody's talking, I'll just keep rambling on. Trying to have an amazing sex life kind of sucks when you feel bloated because you just finished a big ass dinner before you hop in bed at night.
Well,
People with kids and
you
all
know,
that, don't let it kill your performance.
If you eat more meat and you eat things that are a lot of good dairy, and don't eat processed dairy, try to eat raw dairy. You're gonna see a major improvement in that area too. That will definitely help.
Eating salads, fixing your own stuff,
Don't
getting
eat
grease
salads.
on your hands.
Salads are bad. Salads are bad.
It all helps, man. It's just going to boost your stamina, your T levels, or whatever they call them, are going to be through the freaking roof. If somebody stares you down and you just stare them back and don't look away, you're like, go ahead. Through the roof.
Lettuce is one of the hardest things to digest. It really is. If you ever drop a piece of wet lettuce on the floor and try and sweep it up, that's what it does on the inner lining of your stomach. It's terrible. Although I absolutely love salads.
It creates gases as it breaks down, and these gases help move everything through. So that's what it was described in the military. So it keeps you regular.
Here's the thing with vegetables in general, fruits and vegetables in general, most of them are compromised. So unless you're growing your own stuff and you have it covered, and when I say covered, I mean it's covered where nothing that they're putting in the skies are coming down and getting into the soil, and you have good soil, then you'll be okay. But otherwise, no. Anything you're buying at the store is all junk. It's all sprayed with pesticides. It's all sprayed with crap in the store itself. That's not water they're spraying it with. Everyone thinks it's water. It's not water. It's pesticides. It's pesticides to make them look better and last longer. And so people buy them, and you're putting that in your body. It's bad for you. It's not good. They've literally taught people over the years. It's just like with the whole, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. They're trying to tell you, you got to get your five a day bullshit. That was brought up because they want you to keep eating all this crap. They want you to be sick. If you're not sick, they don't have business.
The
Healthcare is
whole
business.
food pyramid was designed around different culture, different marketing schemes.
It's all about big business, and big business is all about healthcare. They got to make you sick.
I got a guy that works for me that's been on carnivore for quite a while. Before he went on carnivore, he was borderline diabetic. He was a lot heavier than he is. His sleep was agitated. He was having problems with T levels. Just all kinds of different stuff that has completely gone away since he's been on carnivore.
So I tried to tell Thack about this as well, and I immediately she shot me down. And I tried to show her all kinds of different evidence, send her different videos. He's doing some other kind of diet and doesn't want to listen to any of it. For those of you that don't know, Tack does have diabetes, and doing this type of diet will help reverse that. Diabetes is there because of all the seed oils and the heavy metals and all the pesticides and all the crap they put in the food. That's why people get diabetes.
Unfortunately, most people want an easy fix for anything, so they'd rather just listen to the professionals, take a couple pills, and
And
feel
not change their lifestyle
right, and
one
feel like
iota.
they've accomplished something, and honestly, a little bit of work on changing a diet, because honestly, like I said before, we are all different. So maybe in some cases those pills are what you need. But I think it's way more likely in most cases a change of lifestyle is what you truly need.
Well,
Uh, whether
what
it's
you got to
food,
think about is this,
activity, but
and what you
they
got to
don't
think
tell you
about
that.
is this, and this is where I come from when I talk to people about the carnivore diet. Is you got to remember that back in the day, they didn't eat all these vegetables, they didn't eat nuts, they didn't eat this, they didn't eat that. They eat meat, and they didn't have all these problems. You go back and you look in history, if you can still find it, because a lot of history they're erasing. But when you can find it, you won't see that we started getting sick until the early 1900s, and that's when they started introducing stuff. The Spanish flu. The Spanish flu was just like coronavirus. It was a fucking test to see how many people would take a jab that was designed to kill people. That's what it was. It was a test. And from that point forward, that's where it's been, man. It's all been about trying to reduce the population. They want to reduce the population, and they want to keep you sick. If you're not sick, they're not making money.
I agree with the sick part where they like to not fix the problem but deal with the symptoms. But I would say if you do look back, the lifespan of us was a lot less too back in the old days. So I'm with you, but in some senses, I think some of the improvements are beneficial, but it's figuring out what is what isn't that seems to be the tricky part. And you should be
Well,
able to just
you got to
trust your
think about
physician, but you can't because they
you got to think about this too.
can't.
So life expectancy back then, yes, was a lot less, but it was a lot less because they weren't living in houses. They weren't. They didn't have
True,
heat.
hygiene and
They didn't, they didn't
basic
have
stuff,
they didn't have a
penicillin.
lot of different resources that we have now. We have a lot more resources. We live inside a building. We have heat. We have this, that, the other that they didn't have. That's you got to think about that too.
Yep, yeah, it's a mix up of things. I think, yeah. Like, I'm not arguing against you. I'm just adding that little caveat to it that
No. I'm not
there is
arguing with you, man.
differences,
I'm
but
explaining.
I'm
Like,
totally with you. I don't, I avoid doctors personally, and I'm healthier than everybody, basically everybody I've grown up with. So I don't want to curse myself or something. Let me find some wood to knock on. But
no, I've seen enough doctors over the years with my stomach problems, and it wasn't until I went back home and was eating different and noticed and realized that it was the food. And when I realized it was the food and basically what everything that was going on, you know, it made a major difference, man. So yeah, it's you can say what you want to say when it comes to this, that, the other, and changing things, but you really got to look at what is all in the food. I mean, you go to the store and you read the ingredients on these packages, and they have all these fancy ass names on them. And you go look at that fancy ass name and look up what it is, and it's some bullshit of some insect or some, other crap that shouldn't be inside you.
Yeah, medical in the United States is pretty high up there. Yet life expectancy in the United States is about 78 years old. The average across the rest of the globe is 82 to 85. What we eat here in America is absolute crap. And not only is it for convenience, but it's because, well, there's people that are just out there to make money off of whatever they can feed you, whatever they can throw your way. And they put stuff in other stuff that makes you crave certain other things too. It's absolutely the our health spending in the United States is double, if not quadruple, most of the rest of the world, and we're still like one of the lowest on the life expectancy food chain.
One thing that people don't take into mind is this. Think about this. We put oil in our cars. Why are you cooking with oil? Oil's bad. Oil is probably one of the worst things in the world you can cook with.
Well, it depends upon the oils.
It
Certain
does.
olive oils are phenomenal for you. They're
Well, it
excellent to
does,
cook in.
but they gotta be single source, and to find single source is a hard thing to do because nowadays they're all mixed batch crap, and you're gonna have a hard time finding a single source. But if you can find a good single source olive oil, yes, to a certain degree, it's good for you.
There's been this huge push for quite a long time in the United States that carbs are bad for you. Carbs are not bad for you. Go to Italy. The fact of the matter is the mass portion of Italy is fit and trim. They drink wine on a regular basis. They're constantly putting olive oil in all kinds of different things, but it's certain types of oils that they use. They eat pasta like it's going out of style. It's
and
nothing but
they also
mass carb load. Um, but it's all healthy pastas. The pastas that we have here in the United States, most of it is absolute crap that's manufactured from stuff that if you knew what it was, you wouldn't put it in your body.
So most of it is actually manufactured, and a lot of it contains what are the archetta or damn, I forget what the hell damn word is, and something, but that comes from roaches. So you're literally eating roaches.
also in Italy, which is a little fun fact. they don't like open-toed shoes at a restaurant. If you're out eating somewhere with open toes or even shorts in some cases, it's kind of looked down upon. So, socks and sandals, that's disgraceful to a lot of people in Italy. So just keep that in mind if you're traveling and whatnot. Yeah, if you want to blend in or you wonder why people are giving you a dirty look, that may be why. And probably video in your feet and stuff because it's not a typical thing, but it's something that Americans tend to do a lot, and it kind of bugs the shit out of them. So just a little side note. Uh, Honestly, it bugs the shit out of me too. I don't think socks and sandals go together, and there's time and place for everything. Out to a nice dinner, I don't want to look at your busted ass feet. I don't.
I don't want to look at your feet. Period. There's no argument there with me. I don't want to look at them. Fucking period. I don't care. I don't want to see them.
So were we talking anything about guns tonight?
Yeah, we can. Go ahead, brother.
Well, I'm just wondering. I think
No,
we're
we
on
can.
great
Absolutely
topic.
we can. So,
Great topics, but you hear about the mom that shot the pedophile trying to rape her daughter in a hotel.
Okay, say that again. I missed that.
So, did you hear about the mom that shot some pedophile trying to rape her daughter in a hotel?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I guess that just happened recently. Don't know all the details. I just seen a video thing on it from Colion Noir, and basically, yeah, I don't know again all the details, but guy got left alone with her two daughters. Mom went out to grab groceries or something, and the guy who has been in jail a few times for raping kids or graping kids, however you're supposed to say it online now, basically somehow got a gun illegally and put a gun to this 12-year-old's head, I think it was, and started to rip her clothes off, had her down on the bed. Mom came back in, witnessed this, and came up on him and shot him. So, unfortunately, I think the bastard survived. And the daughter had to go into the hospital due to her possible hearing damage. So,
Well, good on the mom, man.
yeah, it is good. I mean, it still makes me question what the hell's how she ended up at a hotel with her daughters and this guy any goddamn way. But
Well,
but at least she took care of it or
clearly,
attempted to.
clearly made a bad choice in who she was trying to date or whatever. And
Yeah, I
then,
don't know. Yeah, it didn't give details or anything, but
unfortunately, it happens, and you just gotta pay attention. This is why we always say keep your head on a swivel and really pay attention to what's going on.
And I'd say, don't just believe anybody, especially when you got kids, in your household. I don't care if it's your damn family member, something happening.
If you're out there,
the biggest part about that story, that is just absolutely appalling. So the guy's name was kind of irrelevant, but Bruce Pierce, 39-year-old dude, he spent a lot of time locked up. He's got facial tattoos and all kinds of shit. He was taken for treatment to a local hospital and has since escaped police custody in Indianapolis.
Son of a bitch. See, I can't even say it. We should publicly do. I think you guys all know, but hopefully he has an accident. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it is absolutely appalling. It's like, what the hell? How did the police let this guy escape? It doesn't even add up at all.
Well, and if you're out there, you're in that single status, and you have kids and all that, do your research. Try to research people, man. Don't just fucking randomly go out with someone you meet on fucking Tinder and expect it to be absolutely fantastic. You need to make sure you're researching the person.
Yep.
There's all kinds of information out there about everybody. I don't care who you are. There's all kinds of information out there about everybody. It doesn't take a whole lot to find it. You just use your freaking noggin and do a little bit of research, and you'll be better off.
Like I said, I don't care if it's a family member. You need to do your due diligence and check in on that shit. It's all public. It's all out there. Look, because people like to downplay things. People like to say it was this when it was really that. When you're responsible for others, you can't take those chances. Yeah. So if it hurts their feelings too damn bad, you can't do that.
It, man. I mean, we're supposed to be there to raise them. How the hell can we raise them if we can't even look out for them? We got to make sure we're paying attention and looking out for them. So do your due diligence and go on and look and see what you can find out about the person before you go out there and start mingling with them.
I mean, this particular guy was convicted twice of child molestation charges in 2016.
So you got to ask how the mom didn't know. I mean, how could she not know? It's all out there. It'd be easy for her to look it up. So how did she meet this guy, and how did she not know?
Yeah, it blows my mind. I don't know, because you'd think you would. I don't know. You would like to think she would have been smarter. I don't know.
If I had kids, I'm not leaving them with someone. I don't know. I'm researching every goddamn last thing I can about you, and that's it. I'm not leaving you alone with my kids. Period. Unless I know everything I can find out.
If there's anybody out there that's listening from a jail, how did this guy ever make it out of the jail to begin with?
Yeah, you guys are slipping in there. Well, I don't know. I think a lot of this is kind of misleading too, because a lot of the jails, there is things that happen, paper checks, whatnot, but in some cases, I personally think it's kind of soft. Like these, people, you can get TVs, you leave, you can give the TV to your cellie or somebody else. Shit, there's allowances. You can get watches, jewelry, sneakers, all types of shit. People are in there like putting out requests for shit with radios. There's stipulations, what type, all this type of shit. But I'm sorry, but if you're in a max prison, I don't understand what the hell. What do you need jewelry for in a max prison?
If you're in,
what do you need this shit for? I don't get it.
If you're in a maximum security prison, you shouldn't have nothing.
Oh, they get all types of shit. Tablets, phone calls all the time, all types of it's freaking nuts, dude. It's nuts.
It should be a fucking bed and a fucking pisser. That's it. You shouldn't have nothing else. Period.
They get a lot of stuff. And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the system's perfect and there isn't some innocent people in there, but if you've ever dealt with any of that, everybody claims to be innocent in prison or jail.
Well,
everybody.
The other parts of that too. The other parts of that too is there's so many people sitting on death row. Why are they sitting on death row? Just fucking do it. Get it over with. Why are we wasting so much fucking money keeping these people alive when they've committed these heinous fucking crimes? And take them out. Get it over with.
I can tell you why, honestly, is because it actually costs more to kill them than it does to house them.
See, I just can't believe that. But you could simply not feed somebody and they would die if they were contained. Wouldn't cost a dime.
Look,
on average, it's like 56 or 65,000 a year they spend on inmates.
But that would be inhumane, and we don't want to see them in
when it comes to death row, when it comes to these people, especially people that have committed rape and shit like that, the parents should be allowed to execute. In my humble opinion, the parents should be allowed to execute.
Most wouldn't though. Yeah, they still just think, little Johnny was confused or wasn't given a chance. She was asking for it.
Oh no, fuck that, dude.
Seriously, dude.
You know
Most parents are
how many
freaking
fathers are up
brainwashed,
there going,
bro.
"I want to kill this motherfucker"?
Dude, most parents are brainwashed. Don't get me wrong. I totally understand what you're saying. I totally get it. And I'm not one of them brainwashed people, but most people, it's like, it's almost like the mom thing where it doesn't matter what it is. They're always going to love their kid and support them however they can. That's honest to truth. That's how it breaks out. People say, I don't understand it. If they were, doing horrible stuff to children and taking lives and stuff, I don't understand how you can sit at that person and be like, well, I know, you made mistakes. Like, I don't get it. I personally think like it should be your duty to deal with it, whatever. But most people are that way, man. Like their kid can go start shit right now at the store and they're gonna act like their kid did nothing. Like,
No, I get that.
it's just how they are, man.
No, I get that 100%. I get that. Unfortunately, that's the way it is these days. Kids can
Yeah,
go
the
out and
problem
do
the teachers have. You try to discipline a kid, the parents show up trying to kick your ass. Like, they're worse than the kids.
Yep, they'll defend them. They'll defend them worse than what they should. Yep, 100%. We got Christian Grest out there. Good to see you, brother.
And somebody like this individual, again, I can't publicly state it, but they shouldn't be a problem for us anymore. Like, it should be dealt with swiftly, immediately. There
No,
shouldn't be time
I'll
to be
publicly
doing
say
this
it.
shit. Like,
I'll
that's
publicly say it.
ridiculous.
I don't give a shit. If you get in that situation and you're put in that position where you're supposed to be taken out, then take them fucking out. Quit wasting our money. We're spending so much fucking money housing these fuckers for so many fucking years. They sit in death row for 10, 20, fucking 30 years. Just fucking take them out. A bullet is fucking cheap.
And how many people are going to be harmed on this manhunt for this guy? How many other people are going to be affected or, worried about going out to their backyard because it's on the news that it's in this area or this or that? How many other lives is this piece of shit going to affect?
I've said it many times before, but bring back hanging. Hanging will change a lot of people's minds about what they want to do. If you actually bring back public hanging, people will change their fucking mind about what they're thinking about doing.
Yeah, there's a stupid amount wrapped up in pre-trials and expert witnesses and extra investigations and jury selections and you get two different trials, one on guilt, and then you get a completely different trial on your sentencing, and then you've got all your appeals and all these other legal costs. It is absolutely ridiculous. All the hoops that are gone through, when even the person themselves has stated that they're guilty, they did exactly this and everything else. They can literally be telling the courts, yeah, I did this, kill me, and they still keep them on death row forever and a day.
Yeah, to me, it's insane. And like I said, I think honestly, if public hanging was a thing, you would see a major drop in crime rates. A major drop.
I don't know, man. That's still kind of quick and depending on the crime.
They want them to drag out, and they drag it out because they make money. 100%.
hanging's kind of quick, and depending on the crime, I don't know. I'm still with the whole fact that you put yourself here. Don't expect society to help you, and that probably starved to death, which is going to take a while because we were talking about food earlier. But you can go quite a ways before your body eats itself to the point where you end up becoming toxic and you know organ shutdown. So that's got to be a hell of a rough way to go. And honestly, I don't really have any sympathy for people that are caught red-handed, whatever. No questions, no doubts, just evil people. I don't understand why we should care for them. If you want to pray that uh, they get to see the judge on the way up or whatever. But all we would have to do as a society is absolutely nothing but close the door and lock it, walk away.
No, and I agree with that too. I agree with that too. I mean, there's multiple ways that can be done. I think it really comes down to what the crime is, and if for example, if it's a child or this, that, the other, if the parents want to take care of it, let the parents take care of it. I think I 110% say if the parents want to do it, let the parents do it. It's when you get into something like that and it's a heinous fucking crime like that. Yeah, let them have at it if they want to. Let them beat the living shit out of that person if they want to. Let them take their time. Let that person suffer. I'm all for it. And some people might take that and think that's a bad thing, but in all honesty, folks, it's really not, because you got to think about the person committing the crime and what they're doing.
Yeah.
And if that was your kid, what would you do?
It's mindset too, because honestly, a lot of people haven't really dealt with pure evil, so they probably just don't get it. And good for you. I'm glad if that's the case. You know what I mean?
No, and that's it. The whole.
But when it comes across that where it's just pure for pleasure or twistedness, we don't have any problems putting down a rabid dog, right? It's the same goddamn thing.
Right, and you bring up you bring up an excellent point of mindset, and it's having that mindset, and whenever it comes to the situation, just like if you got to defend yourself, you got to be in the right mindset. And if you're not in the right mindset, you're not going to know what to do, and you're going to have problems. You may end up being slower than you want to be. You may have all kinds of issues can pop up. You have to be in the right mindset, and that's why we get out there and we train and we do these different things to make sure that we are somewhat prepared. We have to be as prepared as possible.
Yeah, I agree with that. Mentally go through scenarios so you can kind of have something to go back on too. And making decisions and when you would actually do something. Yeah, do that ahead of time so you can act and not think.
Most people have never been in a fist fight, and so most people don't know how to react, how to work it when something like that comes upon them.
Yeah, that shock factor can be all the time that's needed to really throw you off. So you don't want to jump the gun on certain things, but at the same time, you're responding to an action, you're already behind the ball. So it's stuff to think about for sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing of it. It's like you said, it's about responses. You don't want to sit there and be too late on the response time. You need to be aware of what's going on and see it as it's going on so that you can react in good timing. It's tough, especially like for example, a very common one would be like in a bar. and someone wants to start throwing fists in a bar, they're going to probably throw a haymaker at you, and you're probably not going to see it coming. It's a really tough situation when you're in that kind of place and you're dealing with that, and you've been drinking, they've been drinking, and just magically out of nowhere, here comes this haymaker. Most people don't know how to deal with that. It's not an easy thing. Most people can't take a hit. That's another thing of it too. You gotta be able to take a hit. That's why I've said for many, many years, it's important to get out there and work with people, train with people, and learn as much as you can learn. And honestly, let people hit you, because you need to be able to take a hit.
Plus, legally, it may be required before you can legally act too. So,
right.
Some states you need to be hit once, twice before you can actually legally defend yourself. So, it's something to keep in mind as well. Obviously, I'm not telling you to do that or anything. I'm just stating, it's another aspect. But yeah, you should be able to take a hit. Personally, I think, especially if you're, and that whole bar thing too. Something else that you can get into long before the fact of the wild haymaker coming at you is read the freaking surroundings. If you're not normal there, don't come in being a jackass and just getting drunk and not paying attention to shit. Read the surroundings. Even if it is your normal place, you're going to know when somebody sketchy comes in. Have your back to the wall, know where the exits are, be watching shit. You'll know because the asshole will keep looking over at you, like waiting for you to say something or whatever. So when you get up to go to the bathroom, expect that son of a bitch to be following you. Or same thing when you leave, like be prepared. Maybe you wait by the door for that son of a bitch, and who knows? He slips and falls in the bathroom, and then you end up leaving. I don't know. You know what I mean? But
no, you're right on. I myself
and you can avoid a lot of it.
Myself and Alan and many others have said over the years, when we go out places and we go to eat and do this and do that, we sit in specific spots on purpose. I want to be able to see every exit. I want to be able to see every strategy that has to be in place. I'm not going to sit in some seat they want to put me in. I want to make sure it's a seat that I'm comfortable with. And so, I'll go to a place and they say, hey, we're going to put you here. And I look at it and I'm looking and I can't see all the exits. No, I don't want to sit here. Put me somewhere else. Put me somewhere where I can see every exit. I can see all the different things I need to see to be comfortable.
And don't sit me at the bar. I don't want my back to the door.
Right, exactly. And just if you are going to a bar type scenario and you want to sit at a bar, do yourself a favor and sit at the corner where you can still see everything going on.
Right. At the
You're
end.
still at a disadvantage being at a bar, but you're at the corner so you can at least see what's kind of going on around you.
Most all restaurants have a bar now. And when, it gets crowded and there's seats at the bar, what are you going to do? You're going to wait for 45 minutes on a seat, or you're going to take a seat at the bar? Or I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't go anywhere. I got to wait 45 minutes. Like, I might wait 5 or 10, but honestly, if it's up to me, I'm out. If I roll up and got to wait, I'm out. I don't mind calling and making a reservation of a place that's busy, but I'm just not going to stand around waiting for an hour to get a table. Like, I just
no.
not doing it.
I went to go to the steakhouse in Georgia when I was out in Georgia, and they told me it's going to be 45 minutes to an hour, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm not waiting that long, man. I'm hungry now. Like, I want my food now.
Yeah, we can go drive through the Crystal right now, right?
Yeah, I'm not waiting around for that. I don't mind like you. I don't mind waiting 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes, but 45 to an hour, yeah, that's not happening. So Jamie, what you guys all talk about on Friday?
We talked about the Marlin, not 1888 and 1889 model lever action rifles.
How'd that chat go, man? Was it good?
It felt good. It felt good. I missed Walter Viejo. I think he got abducted Friday night. I sure do miss him when he's not there. He's out there in the side chat now. Hey, Walter. I think I got an email from him that said, "Don't pay the ransom. I've escaped." So
I'm glad he got away.
I'm glad he got away too.
So anything good come up in that chat?
What do you mean, man?
Well, just for anyone out there that might have missed it, was there anything good that popped up?
Well, just our usual stuff. We missed Gene as well, but Walter had Walter did the What's Hot Pot Got segment. Not Walter, I meant Andy 79Z28. He had a 50 BMG round, which really is an enlarged 30-06, right? Y'all know that. True.
Yep.
And another thing we learned was that whereas the 50 BMG is an enlarged, scaled up 30-06, the 223 Remington is a scaled down 30-06.
Ozzy, you always get a shout out, man. You're awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, we were showing off some of his leather work.
He does awesome work, man.
Yeah, he does.
I'm just mad at him because he wouldn't accept any money.
Yeah, when he starts reloading, I'm gonna send him some bullets. There won't be nothing he can do about that.
Right. Yeah, he's gonna get something in the mail. I got your address, fucker, so you're screwed.
So, just so everybody knows, when we get a package from one of you guys, your return address goes into your contact information, into your contact in our phones. So, yeah, it happens. When you least expect it.
That's it. You're not going to see it coming. It's just going to pop up.
And I'll make one comment about y'all's food conversation earlier. An apple a day keeps the doctor away.
But does it really, though?
Yeah, it does.
See, well, no. See, that's the thing of it. You got to be careful what you're eating because 90% of the stuff that's out there all has chemicals on. And again, this is why I said unless you're growing your own food, as far as vegetables and fruits, and you have them covered, then you're not getting good sources of vegetables and fruits. You're getting stuff that's covered in chemicals.
Y'all got to stop, dude. Y'all going to have everybody watching so dang depressed that they're going on a hunger strike. They're not going to eat anything. They're going to be starving themselves to death. It's going to be y'all two's fault.
Well, Jamie, I got to tell you what initiated it is they were talking about literally doing starvation and fasting.
Yeah, Rob brought up fucking Val, and Val's not even fucking here, and then we went off the fucking road off of that. There you go.
Yeah, way down the road.
Yeah, I was
And-
here.
And no, he didn't show up. But yeah, to both of your guys' points, I can understand what Jamie's saying, but at the same time, on Scotsman's point, I'll throw out there that what you think of as an apple is an engineered apple. That's not what regular apples look like, and you
Oh,
probably know
damn.
this. If
Come
you go
on,
look at a crab apple tree or look at something like that, they don't come out perfect. The perfect apple shape without blemishes, without human interaction. And another thing is our bananas. That's not what bananas look like in other countries. So, they're a lot bigger, they're a lot prettier looking. A lot of our fruit, which we consider is good, it has all been engineered. So, yeah, you got to keep that in mind too. But it's still healthier than grabbing something out of a box. 90% of the store is junk food. So, yeah, it's not even close to real food. Technically, it's all that chemical shit or whatever. Was at one time before it was ultra processed for all this quick and easy shit that most people only had the time to make. So, it's just the whole system. But like I said, to both your points, yes, vegetables are good. Or apples, fruits, vegetables, but at the same time, even that's been screwed with, like Scott's been saying.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I get it. People like their fruits and vegetables, and I understand it. Don't get me wrong. I don't. I like multiple different fruits, but I don't buy them from a store. I'm just not gonna. It's just not happening. There's ways to know if they're messed with or not messed with, and I'm not gonna get into that on here, but you can tell different ways. But 90% of the stores all spray it with a chemical anyway. So buying it from a store is not something I'm gonna do. It's gonna be a local farm or something along those lines. If I'm gonna buy something like that, it has to be something that comes from someone local that's doing it the right way and not messing with it. And that's just how it is for me. Everyone has their own thing, but that's just how I'm very particular, just because I've had so many issues with my stomach over the years, and it all came down to what was in the food. And unfortunately, I hate saying this, but the way America does their food, man, all the process and all the crap they put in it, America fucked up my stomach. And it's only by changing the things that I'm eating that have turned it around. And it took going home to figure that out, and seeing the difference when I was eating good food versus bad food. So
I'm just glad we've got a lot of orchards in the North Georgia mountains so we can go up there and get apples, bring them home, dehydrate them, and then use them the rest of the year. I love that video, man.
We got some stuff a long time ago from Aldi's. I think it was like cucumbers or something like that. And I guess Aldi's is a German company or whatnot, but either way, that's regardless. But from what I've learned is a lot of their stuff is like straight like GMO all the way, basically. Same with Save-A-Lot. I believe it is, and there was one other where they're all the same type of thing. You can't beat the prices, whatever. But the point I'm getting at is we got some stuff there, and it was like cucumbers and something, whatever. Threw it in the crisper. We had other stuff. I don't know. Long time went by. This stuff should have been bad. You grab it, it looked brand new, like perfect. Like you could throw it back on the shelf and sell it. So now we're like, what the hell? So now we're writing like a date on it, throw it back in, and just wait and see what happens. Like that shit sat in there for months and never went bad. Finally, we just, it was proven to us, we probably could have still kept it, but we just got rid of it. But it's kind of odd. Like, how the hell does stuff just not go bad? Like, you know what I mean? Something's wrong with that. Like, that's a good indicator that, it looks right, but that's not normal food. You know what I mean? It's like,
So I don't know if any of you guys have seen the videos, but there's plenty of them out there where people have gone and bought a burger from McDonald's and not refrigerated it, not done anything, just keep it in the box and open it a year later, and it still looks like it did when they bought it.
Yep. Yep. I found burgers and cars at Gary's or junkyards that look like that. Yep.
This is the shit that's killing people, man. This is the shit that's making you sick. So my big thing with this, folks, is pretty simple. I urge you to pay attention to what you're eating, pay attention to what's going on, do your research, do your homework. And again, if you got questions about trying to do the carnivore diet, trying to get on and do this and do that, let me know. I'm happy to talk to people. I had someone email me last week, randomly from Norway, about my thumbs. So most of my thumbs have some weird fucking thing on them. I don't know what the hell it is. And apparently he has the same thing. He emailed me and asked me a question about if I had a way of fixing it, this, that, the other. I don't care, people. You're all welcome to email me, talk to me, ask me questions. I'll help you if I can help you. That's what we're all here for. We're a community, and we stick together and we do what we can to help each other out. So, you all have blessed me, gave me the support of being here and being a part of this nation, and to me that's a huge thing, and I can never repay anyone for anything that y'all have done. It's impossible, absolutely impossible. But you'll always have my thanks, and that's the best I can do, I guess, because there's no way I can repay every one of you. With that being said, we are at time. So, Rob, what you got going on, brother?
Not much. No idea as far as the tubes, I guess you could say it, or what people say. Other than that, I'd tell people thanks for stopping by. Despite what Scotsman says, or Alan, eat a salad. It's good for you. Don't be a little baby and skip out on your veggies. Like, be a damn man or woman and handle your shit. And, dodge the landmines. Keep an eye out on the idiots that you got near your kids. And, catch you next week.
All right, man. Appreciate you being here. Always a pleasure having you on. Jamie, what you got, brother?
This past week, I've got my first 8-pound keg of gunpowder. I can't believe all these years that I bought 4-pounders a time or two, but I scored a 8-pound jug of 800X, which is a discontinued powder. So I'm proud of that. Check us out Friday nights at 8 o'clock on the Georgia Shooting Connection channel. And I think it'll be time for the Winchester 92 this coming Friday night. Hope y'all can join us. Thanks for having me, man. Always fun hanging out with you guys on Sunday evenings.
I always appreciate you, brother, and I'm glad you got an 8-pounder. Man, you know, getting those, sometimes they're unicorns depending on the powder. Sometimes they are unicorns. So I'm glad you got an 8-pounder, and we look forward to seeing what else you got going on. And yep, and here we go. So appreciate everyone out there. You guys are awesome. Thank you for showing up. Again, apologies for the last couple of weeks. It's just been busy, left, right, and center, and same with Allen. So we do apologize, folks. We try to be here as often as we can, but we do appreciate everyone out there. You guys have been awesome. We've had some great interaction. We had some awesome chats going on. So thank you very much for being here. And Allen, please take us out right, brother.
You muted, man.
Yeah, you said it. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Yeah, I have a date with some cold medicine in a bed very, very shortly. Just not feeling it. I also have to try to figure out how to mount an AR into a BMW. So if anybody's got plans for those, just go ahead and send them over to me. But before we go, as always, I need to remind you to keep them magazines loaded and one in the chamber. Woo!